Happy St. Patrick's Month, the month that celebrates me Irish roots. And Happy Mardi Gras Month, the month that celebrates my other roots.
Does she know how to make a grilled cheese?
Either way, it's time to celebrate many of our anime origin stories. Just like the Chinese New Year prior is to celebrate Chinaman's origin story. A holiday that I feel that Tencent suspiciously shoved that holiday and Wukong into our American games.
But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory.
Anyways, it's a time to celebrate festivities, merriment, as well as getting drunk and acting like an idiot.
Drink, take, arse, girls!
And while you're getting a little luck in your day, I can think of no better time to drink a lot of booze! And talk about Darkstalkers.
Hey, you want me?
Thanks,
Cyclops.
Alright, so this is a continuation of the previous video, which are continuations of the entire series to be exact, but this video is an immediate continuation of where we left off. Because while their movesets of the Darkstalkers allow you to do practically anything, you shouldn't do everything, like I said prior video. Their personality, character, and background have much to do with their movesets. Plus, if I want a unique OC, I don't want people looking at this Frankenstein bride and going, hey, she's just like Felicia. Hey, she's just like Morgan. Hey, she's just like Lilith, BB Hood, Xienko, or QB. I want her to be as distinct, personality-wise, as her looks need her to be. Personality carries over to looks, so the more distinct she is from the entire roster, the more it will show in her design. And the only way to do that is to go over all 19 and then some characters. Why do I do this to myself?
I'm drunk!
Alright, first let's go through the big three main faces of the Darkstalkers franchise. In depth. Now, if you've been paying attention, and you'd better, that it's pretty obvious who my favorite character is. And one of the reasons is just as obvious. Oh, by the way, that's not a costume. That's fur on her body, making her naked.
Naughty.
Although this game is no stranger to nakedness, and Capcom is clearly no stranger to nudity, if you remember the Street Fighter II movie scene involving Chun-Li's shower time.
But we're not doing it for the sake of art, and we're not doing it for the sake of money. No, we're doing it because we like painting naked people.
But what if I told you that the sex appeal is not even the main focal point of Felicia? What if I told you that's not the main reason why I like her? What if I told you that stuff is in the background of her character? Don't get me wrong, she's got it going on. I mean, she's got the first jiggle physics in fighting games. Not even Morrigan has that in the same game. But what she's really got going on is that she's cute! She's so freaking cute! Just look at her! From friend-shaped paws for her hands and feet, to that massive, fluffy, curly, and blue mane for hair, to that adorable cat-like smile she does from time to time, to those sweet, big, innocent eyes. And, of course, the adorable cat ears and cat tail for the cat girl. I mean, come on. And just look what she does. Like, look! It's adorable! Just look! Look at all of this!
Would you look at this?
Oh my gosh, it's so cute, it's stupid. And even her personality fits with cute. I mean, she's so innocent, she's not even aware of her sexuality. Fly high, lesbian seagull. No, not like that. What I mean is, she doesn't see herself as hot. Cute, but not hot. I mean, do you think any self-respecting nun would walk around like that if they were aware? See, she's a nun that belongs in a family musical. For starters, who loves musicals, fitting. She was raised by a nun in a convent, which explains a lot, helps the needy, loves children, and is a virgin?
What?
Hear me out, because it does make sense. In an exclusive Japanese interview with the Capcom creative team that worked on Darkstalkers, that's in something called The Gamist Mook Volume 88, Vampire Savior Fanbook, an interviewer asked the team if she were to get in a relationship with someone, it would be Talbane, right? They answered, I don't think she would limit herself to other Darkstalkers. Besides, she's probably a bit immature to be thinking about relationships. And just by the translated Q&A alone, with her faith and how innocent she thinks, it just doesn't seem like her character would do a one-night stand or a fling, especially being so close to her Christian faith. It may sound like a stretch, but remember, family musical nun. I mean, she can be flirty, but never a tease. And while she's a bit immature for relationships, she does have a romantic side. I mean, you gotta give the Capcom fandom something for a character like Felicia. And you need her to be innocent, sweet, and cute to such a degree it becomes comical. I mean, outside of her sexy bod, once you get past her limbs, to her hands, feet, and even her head, it's just ridiculousville. From her clown-sized paws to her big-ass poofy blue hair with blue tendrils that I think are meant to be whiskers, to her cute, silly expressions. She's so cute, it's stupid ridiculous. Just look how adorable she is. She's cute. She's flippin' cute.
It's too cute. It's disgusting.
Your mind will first and automatically go to, and then it'll go to, and this is where personality comes into play, folks, is that, well, yes, she's got a hot body yaddy yaddy, and she's naked to boot, kinda. Everything else takes center stage. The way she's very cute with wackadoodle proportions on her feline anatomy juxtapose the sexy so well, it becomes harmonious and leaves a PG-13 rating. Or T for teen for video game ratings. Even if she is a cat girl, a trope normally reserved for the sexy feline femme fatales. Capcom are masters of their craft when it comes to character design. But here's the thing. The hotter her body, the more over-the-top cute you can make her. And it makes her funnier. For example, take Marilyn Monroe, the sex icon back in the day. She's treated as erotic. But when Felicia becomes like Monroe in Midnight Bliss, it becomes a gag, because it greatly contrasts Felicia. It's why I say she needs to be more endowed than Morrigan and other fighters. Like, could you imagine her with some of the hottest female fighting icons like Chun-Li and Mai that are always one-upping each other, being catty, seething, and trying to prove who's hotter? And then Felicia comes out naked and grand and goes, "Hello, let's be friends." Like, that's funny. Felicia is funny. Darkstalkers is all about the funny. And Felicia's prolific voice actress, Kei Araki, is more than capable of making Felicia be cute and funny, since she's done, these characters. I also like the fact she's American. Homegirl represent!
Fucking over! I cannot believe this
Well, she's one of the rare good American girls called ladies. Although she can come across a bit too childlike and immature, where at times not taking the dire fighting situations too seriously. Like a Toriyama character. Oh my gosh, she's like an Akira Toriyama character. And if you know who this guy is, and you'd better, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Hail the Omni Kings! You humble us with your presence.
Hey, Zanies! It's me! Over here! Ah!
Dad? Did he say Zenny?
What's up, you guys? Thanks for giving us these awesome pre-fight fights.
Get down, idiot!
Yep, she's an Akira Toriyama character. Good night, sweet prince. She also has a team of catgirls that she leads to unite the Nico race with the human race in harmony. Her band of Nikos consists of Alto, Grace, Lucy, Nana, Mimi, Nono, and Pico. Just in case you didn't get enough catgirls in your life. Felicia is just that kind-hearted, wanting to make the world a joyful place. Sidebar, small gripe. This is Felicia's actual cat form, and this is the cursed form Anacris places on her. Get it together, guys, and keep her fit, toned, and muscular. It's best, Felicia.
I want a woman that could crush my head in between her thighs.
And she reps my Christian faith. It's always nice every now and again to see video game characters do that to some honorable degree. Even though she's Catholic, a gray area in Christianity, depending on where your denomination branches off in theological teachings. This character has transcended a different level of character design. Gosh, I love this character. But she does have a preference on guys, and that's guys like Blanca, the good-natured, innocent, wild weirdo.
Whoa, hey, you're pretty good at this.
Means she's got a thing for weirdos. And all nerd men rejoiced.
Call the police.
I'm just kidding, or am I? But seriously, though, there is a greater reason why I keep bringing Felicia up. But we'll have to cover that topic when we get to tone. This episode has just become me talking about Felicia again.
Oh, I like you, pussycat. Yes.
Morrigan, on the other hand, is the polar opposite of Felicia. Where Morrigan is a demon succubus, so there goes that whole Christian thing, and embraces her hedonistic lifestyle to the fullest. She definitely is much more mature and stately than the childlike and plucky Felicia. However, while being way more sexually active just to stay alive, well, I mean, incubi and succubi can achieve stimulation without sex just by eating stimulating dreams from people in the Capcom universe. So you're not sure just how sexually active Morrigan is, but let's be real here. I mean, she's got a victory pose having her chain her innocent side up while wearing an S&M outfit. She has moves like this. And wears outfits like these. But, like Felicia, they've cleverly subdued her design as well. They made Morrigan a demonic princess of the highest kingdom of Makai. She has what kind of resembles a Japanese princess haircut, aka the Hime haircut. She's got white fur fringes for straps. Her wings are not just jutting out, but draped behind her like a gown. Royal-looking sleeves and boots, and her wings on her head feel like a crown. Even her casual outfits make her feel like she's a sophisticated woman of the modern age. Even her idol animations, her victory pose / taunt, and the way she glides just scream regality. It's her sophistication, stateliness, and regal proper decorum and charm that balance out so well of her being a succubus. Speaking of being a succubus, Yet again, you can also see that side in her outfit. From her low plunge cut on her unitard that shows her cleavage with pointless straps, to her heart shape opening on her very high cut unitard, to her princess boots that double as low cut go-go boots, and her iconic bat pattern spandex. Sophisticated and sexy, she's like the whole devilish package. Two sides of a coin. What a well-designed character is this Scottish chick, Morrigan Ainsland. To be fair, she does get her jollies eating those stimulating dreams, fighting, dancing, partying, playing video games, the works, than just the old rumpy-pumpy, presumably. In Capcom's world, a succubus needs to be stimulated to, I'm not making this up, to secrete the liquid inside them that maintains their life force. Oh, jeez Louise.
Think like this. Let them come.
You're sitting there, imagining that, with a big smile on your face. You dirty fecker.
If they don't for 2 days straight, they'll die. Capcom wrote succubus and incubus in a way that makes them less sex demons and more pleasure yokai. They're more vampires than anything else. Again, she is another well-done character by the Grand Masters of Capcom. They balanced so well the two definitions of her maturity, of her being a proper demonic princess and a succubus who, presumably, has an overactive sex life or eats stimulating dreams to keep that PG-13 rating going, or T14 for video game rating. Capcom has got a lot of room to work with this playful, cheeky character to have your cake and eat it too. And boy, is she cheeky. Especially with those tights. Excellent. I mean, the way she beats Lord Pyron at the end of the first 2 games, and then goes back home and pretends like, oh yeah, nothing really happened major today, like it's some sort of 90s teenage sitcom. And Morrigan's story is that she doesn't want to be a princess, and wants more than just her provincial life, or in this case, regal life. What I'm saying is, she's basically a Disney princess, just with more demonic sex.
Oh my.
Presumably. No, seriously, Morrigan, if you think about it, comes across as a mature, sexy Disney princess. She has a powerful deity-like king for a father, she's bored with her home kingdom, or in this case, the world she knows, and she wants to be a part of a different world, or in this case, our human world, and have fun exploring that realm. And oh my gosh, she's Ariel from The Little Mermaid! Welp, there you go. I rest my case. Leave Capcom alone, Iger. You've already broken the toys you bought.
Stop! He's already dead.
What also really helps dumb down the promiscuity, allegedly, is the ridiculous, silly, and funny things Capcom does with her. I mean, look at her wing transformations. It's just silly nonsense. Yeah, she's hot, but she's played for yucks. Like Jessica Rabbit.
Nice booby trap.
But hit with Roger Rabbit gags.
I'm here, baby!
Plus, Morrigan is extremely confident. She's sexy, and she knows it. Even though she's a sex demon, Morrigan is still a fun-loving character that masks a subtle innocence about her. She is, though, a selfish character and only cares about the fate of Earth and Makai to fulfill her hedonistic appetites. However, when the chips are down, she does seem to show compassion and will do heroic acts for a greater good. Plus, this fun-loving character has got a ton of charm, playfulness, and sex appeal to her, with a rebellious streak to boot. There's something very human about her, even though she's a demon, too. It's really hard not to love her. Again, that's why she's so marketable and has carried the franchise in relevancy. Just be sure you keep her wacky comical side. That's also part of her charm. Both Felicia and Morrigan complement each other in their contrasting personalities, yet share minor similarities. Both were adopted, both are immature, and both have been there since day one. It's kinda why I wanted Felicia to rival Morrigan in the hot body department. But not only that, this game is in serious need of a morally good main protagonist. You have Dimitri, who in his ending of Vampire Savior forces Morrigan to be his sex slave. Oh yeah, that happens, and still tries to take over both realms. Donovan, who becomes a homicidal vampire at the end of Night Warrior because of his genocide crusade he was committing on Darkstalkers. Oh yeah, that happens too. And Morrigan, while still having some good in her, is still a hedonistic succubus who skirts her responsibilities as the new ruler of Makai for her own fun and pleasure, not really caring about any greater good of her people. Heck, she doesn't even care if her own kind is going extinct. People need that good protagonist in the game that they feel they can root for. If you don't have that, it really hurts your franchise, and it's probably one of the reasons why Darkstalkers struggles to continue further with more games. Don't get me wrong, Morrigan can and has been a heroine. She is a sexy, demonic, not Disney princess after all. But like a lot of the good princesses back in the day, before the Iger era, they weren't what you would call mature heroines. And neither is Felicia. But Felicia dedicates her life helping people, giving her the heroic edge. Where Morrigan helps herself, giving her a mischievous edge. The two are like yin and yang, and if you were gonna make a sequel, it's something to think about. Morrigan needs that rival of a sexy mascot, but on the side of clearly good. Heck, you can have a dynamic relationship between the two doing just that. Morrigan mocks Felicia for being a goody two-shoes virgin Christian on the side of God and against the demonic, while Felicia is frustrated with Morrigan mocking her and is not down for her being a demon or her lifestyle. It would give the game more depth, have an allegorical message about humanity, and give the player a choice on which side they'd like to be on. Would they choose the path of good, or choose to walk on the bad side? Two sexy mascots won't hurt the franchise. Plus, Felicia has already been propped up as a face for Darkstalkers a while now. See? There's a method to my madness, and it's not just Bonerville Goon Squad here. Felicia and Morrigan need to be rivals, not just in personality, but in sex appeal as well. For goodness sakes, you're in the land of devils and monsters. You need a clearly good protagonist to counterbalance it all. And there's a reason why they complement each other so well. Originally, it was Felicia that was meant to be the femme fatale, and Morrigan that was meant to be a cute vampire. But they already had Dmitri Maximoff to fulfill that vampiric role. However, when they heard what a succubus was by Alex Jimenez,
it's a kind of female demon that kills men by screwing them to death. And they were like, oh, yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, yeah.
Boy, did those two characters do the old switcheroo. And Dimitri's Midnight Bliss and Anacris's Pharaoh decoration moves on those two is probably a reference to that original plan. Heck, both of them were iconic and groundbreaking at the time. Morrigan was the very first to introduce succubus to mainstream Japan, and Felicia was the one that set the gold standard for catgirls everywhere. They're so groundbreaking, Capcom hasn't made a Darkstalkers 4.
Where is it? 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 Where is it?
Or just make Lord Dimitri more compelling to be the main protag again. I don't know. Does anyone care about my ramblings anymore? And the third most noticeable feminine face of the franchise, Lilith, is also the complete antithesis of Morrigan. Kinda in every way, yet different in the way Felicia differs. She's not as well endowed, you might say flat as an ironing board. She's far more playful and immature. She's naive and innocent, and her hedonistic goals are more for everything else but the sexual. Even though I'm pretty sure she's down for the hanky-panky, presumably. Since she's Morrigan, just a different side of her, it's really hard to tell what she is, and that's kind of the point Capcom was going for. Originally, Lilith was meant to be androgynous, where you're not quite sure if she's a boy or a girl. But that failed miserably because hips don't lie. And now she's just a female. My guess on why they did that is to hit our deepest, darkest fetishes that we never knew existed. Being a succubus and all. I don't know, maybe. No! Leave her alone! You're just gonna make it an unnecessary big deal and weird again! And fucking creepy. I'm on to you guys now.
Daphne, I'm gonna cut to the chase. I feel a panic attack coming on, baby, and I think the only medicine is a taste of that stinky jinkies. You know what I'm saying, baby? Come on. Wait, hold on.
As for why another succubus in Vampire Savior after Morrigan did so well? Cash money. She was also originally meant to be an angel, but that failed miserably too. Capcom creators called her intense side, the succubus side, as a mix of innocent and cruelty. It's the same interview as the Felicia interview I mentioned earlier. Not so much focused on sexual, even if no one got the memo.
Double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon.
As I said, Lilith's personality is right in between Morrigan and Felicia. Lilith is a major flirt and tease, being a bit cheeky and sexy, like Morrigan, because, well, she's a part of Morrigan. And she's pretty damn hot, even with her flat justice. But she's innocent as Felicia, because while she's a part of Morrigan, when Jetta gave her a new body for some reason, she now had become a new being in her own right. She was practically born, and probably not even a year old during the events of Vampire Savior. This also helps of her having a youthful look. I said a youthful look, not a lolly look. Look, I've heard the statements.
Zombies, Frankensteins, mummies, questionably aged succubuses.
She's practically the same age, the same height. Don't go there. And that innocent side is probably why she cares more about eating, drinking, playing games, and sleeping to get her hedonistic appetites for her to stay alive than, well, sex. Allegedly. So in that same MOOC, when the Darkstalkers creators talk about Lilith, they explain why she's supposed to be so innocent, yet act like such a major flirt and tease. The only reason why she's a sexy deviant in the first place is probably that she doesn't even really know she's doing it. It's just instinct because she's a part of Morrigan, and her soul's sole, pun intended, purpose is to be reunited back into the original body and soul of Morrigan as one being. She's a very complicated character. Oh, wait! Actually, I know exactly what's her personality. She's got a pixie girl personality, or a sprite girl personality, if you're feeling educated. You know that personality, that pixie-like girl where they're playful, cute, playing innocent, but have that rebellious, mischievous side, like fairies. You know, like a mix between Tinkerbell and Tracer. They're quirky, cute girls that are carefree and fun, but are nothing but trouble if you hang out with them long enough. It's what makes her sexy. And a little deviant. For Pete's sakes, you can see it when she's just skipping along without a care in the world. And even her idle animation has got more sass than Morrigan's. It's even in her movesets, obviously. I mean, look at these moves. Look at them and tell me I'm not wrong. Gloomy puppet show? Come on. I mean, she's even got a pixie haircut. Lilith fits that definition so well. It's one of the reasons why I see Lilith rival Morrigan in popularity, because Lilith provides that little bit of innocence that people gravitate to. Morrigan is a little too adult, and Lilith provides that levity. Also pixie girl, my definition. However, Lilith feels a bit out of place next to Morrigan, almost as if there's something missing. Although, if you ask me, which you probably won't, fuck you, but if you did, hypothetically, if Capcom did decide to do a Darkstalkers 4 and added new characters, the obvious choice would be adding a new radical Morrigan, the way they did with Street Fighter 4 adding Jury and edgier Chun-Li. Or a better example, Vampire Savior with Lilith in the first place. Remember, Morrigan is referencing the Irish goddess Morrigan of war, fate, death, and sovereignty, and that goddess is split into a trinity. Nowhere as cool as the true god, though. And in canonical lore, Morrigan Ainsland's soul was split into 3 parts. One that became Lilith, and a third that got consumed back into Morrigan after Belial, her adopted father and king of all Makai, died. But they can't bring that part back. It and Lilith are a part of Morrigan now. Oh, pfft. If they brought Xienko and Mei Ling back from Night Warriors after they were supposed to be reincarnated and fresh out the womb, and if they brought Donovan and Anita back for Vampire Savior 2 when Donovan was supposed to be D, then fuck that. They can bring Lilith and the unseen Morrigan part back. Since when has Darkstalkers made any sense in the first place? Perhaps the new personality of this third part can complement all of Morrigan's sides and make Lilith feel like she belongs better and not just another Morrigan cash grab clone. What would that personality be? What would she look like? Don't know, not my problem. But if I could make one suggestion, and that would be hair color. See, Morrigan and Lilith have secondary pastel colors. If Morrigan's hair is a pastel green and Lilith's hair is a pastel violet, then the third one's hair is... You guessed it. That's it. That's all I care about. By the way, lore aficionado Thorgy, how did you miss this crucial detail when making these videos? Maybe I'm just that good. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering why I spent so much time on these sexy babes. Because I want people to understand that these characters are more than just sex appeal alone. Look, I get it. Sex sells. But if that was all it took for character development, well, Dead or Alive would be more alive and less dead. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. It's very important to understand that the sexiness is treated in the way the vaudeville cartoons treat sexy.
Hey, Daddy, I want a diamond ring, I want some bracelets and everything.
As a gag. I mean, those cartoons are what Darkstalkers is based on in the first place. You acknowledge they're hot, but you also acknowledge there's more to it than just that. Man, these sites really fucked up our broader spectrum to see beyond that topic. Yes, they are intense, but once you get past that, you can see the forest through the trees and see the charming characters they really are. That's why I've taken such time with them to emphasize just that. They really are, however, played so silly and so lighthearted that it's more kid-friendly than you'd think. Well, 80s and 90s kid-friendly.
My wiener.
Yes, they have sex appeal, but they never cross the line and do things too far. Just enough where, as a kid, you thought you got away with something. It got you to go unga bunga, boobies! And then got you to be befuddled and laugh at the end of it all. These big three faces of Darkstalkers are the most recognizable for a reason. They've held the test of time to this day and kept the IP in relevancy. Capcom had them down to a science so fantastical you swore it was magic. And it's something they haven't really been successful in replicating since Capcom's heyday. It's the type of complex study no game studio has time for. Not in the Eastern world, and certainly not in the Western world, especially the Western AAA studios. They're too busy caring about what's between their legs, what color is it, and how they use it. Things like that are solely cosmetic and not character traits. Get it together, Sweet Baby Inc. For those that don't know what Sweet Baby Inc. is, well, let me be the first to tell you.
I hear they're fruits. No way!
My name is Cameron Wild, and I'm a narrative designer and sensitivity reader with a company called Sweet Baby Inc., based out of so-called Montreal.
Oh God, Montreal. Even Canadians hate that Frenchy Montreal.
Ah, the French. See what I mean? That don't mean anything.
We specialize in narrative development, which means working with teams on everything from script writing to narrative direction, casting, to cultural consultation.
The buddy system should be used in all potentially unsafe situations, like swimming, bike riding, and showering.
They're gay, all right. You don't even know what gay is. Yeah, I do.
It's a company that strong-arms video game companies.
If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher-ups, and if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
To show true, unique diversity for minorities, accurate cultural representation, groundbreaking dialogue.
Whatever the reason, we made it through. And this time, no dragon escaped.
Thanks to Tosh.
That's why we recruited her.
Actually, Tosh uses them for themselves now.
They asked us to let folks know, so now you do. Yeah. I appreciate it. Thank you for telling me. That's why we recruited them.
This game truly does have magic in it. Every time I stop seeing it, my life is magically made better. Making women brave, bold, and beautiful. Politics and propaganda. And, of course, everyone's favorite, microtransactions.
Bleeding edge technology innovation. Loot boxes.
And let's not forget unfinished games, of course. All with a team filled with, we'll just say cigarettes, led by a soy jack and a woman who can't shut the fuck up about her self-worth.
I'm Kim Belair. I'm a writer, I'm a narrative designer, I'm extremely nervous, and I'm the co-founder of a little narrative development company called Sweet Baby Inc. We do narrative development in games and kind of beyond, and we try to bring a lot of inclusion, diversity, and new ideas kind of to the industry.
A few minutes later.
For a little bit of background on me, I've been a professional writer for about 12 years. But I've always written stuff. I think that's always the way. But when I was a kid, and I want to start at the beginning here because I think that it's important to kind of give context to the way I learned about representation as a woman of color, and I think the way that a lot of marginalized people kind of get socialized when it comes to topics like this. So when I was small and starting to kind of express myself creatively in either writing or stories or art, I wrote about myself a lot. And I would put myself into a lot of art, into a lot of narratives, and I put my family and people who look like me in all of these cool scenarios. And I was telling all these stories where I got to see myself, I got to see people who look like me, and kind of a rainbow of people who were kind of adjacent to me.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
That I kind of said, okay, well, what do I need to be legitimate? And I just internalized everything that I had learned. And I did that for years. And I spent like actual years just writing about white men because I thought, okay, I'm making art now because I can look at the stories that are being told, that are being held up as legitimate and as classic, and they look like the stories that I'm telling.
1 hour later.
And so recently I was consulting on a project that was a dating simulator. And I was faced with like a very simple decision point that the writers were trying to achieve, and it was this interaction between the female-identified date and you, the protagonist, and you could customize your gender, you could customize your appearance and everything.
2 hours later.
Because this is my go-to example, and it's something that like I talk about all the time, and it's the first time that I ever made a black character in a video game. But kind of like a pseudo-fun fact about me, that's slightly fun, is that I actually have a marketing degree.
And it's doing wonders.
I think we need to step out of this rule that like white men can enjoy fantasy worlds, aliens, sci-fi, monsters, anything, so long as it's through a lens that looks exactly like them. Because if that's the kind of person that we're always going to cater to, you're never going to innovate. You're never going to change things. You're just going to keep feeding the picky baby.
That was completely meaningless and made my brain throw up.
Have you heard of anime, manga, and Japanese video games? The characters are predominantly Japanese, and everyone loves them. It doesn't matter if they have, because they're retarded. Spoiler alert for Halo coming up. You've been warned. So jump to this time slot if you don't want to see it.
I'm getting you out of here. No, you're not. No, don't let her go. Don't ever let her go. Send me out with a bang.
Chief, I'm so sorry.
All right, you can come back now.
That's why we at Sweet Baby do what we do. But we hit a wall sometimes when it's not just that creatives don't know how to tell a story well, it's that they want to tell a certain story. And a certain story that often they're unequipped to tell.
You know all those recent AAA video games that you just hate nowadays? Blame them! That's their fault!
I think we need to step out of this rule that like white men can enjoy fantasy worlds, aliens, sci-fi, monsters, anything, so long as it's through a lens that looks exactly like them. Because if that's the kind of person that we're always going to cater to, you're never going to innovate. You're never going to change things. You're just going to keep feeding the picky baby. So when I was small and starting to kind of express myself creatively in either writing or stories or art, I wrote about myself a lot. And I would put myself into a lot of art, into a lot of narratives, And I put my family and people who look like me in all of these cool scenarios. And I was telling all these stories where I got to see myself, I got to see people who look like me.
Women.
Happy International Women's Month, where women make change. Yeah, they call them mood swings.
Whoa!
Why do you have 2 holidays over something no one cares about? Speaking of what no one cares about, fuck 343 Industries! No one cares about 343 Industries, man.
No more premeditation. It's time to do a murder.
I and the rest of the world's sentiments about you? Exactly. There! You have it! I'm done for today's episode. I don't care! This was so big, I had to split discussing the roster in another video. Don't worry, these were the big 3. We had to spend more time with them. Anyways, we'll talk about the rest soon. I hope. But I thought you promised the next video after this was about Tone, then drawing the OC. And is this really March?
En français.
Ah, the French.